views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
As we celebrate a quarter century of public service and achievement together, let it be known that BronxNet was formed out of a critical need. As TV news, talk radio, Hollywood, and newspaper dailies misrepresented the Bronx and our people, it became manifest to visionary leaders like our Founders Award honoree, Freddy Ferrer, the Bronx Borough president at the time, that the community needed an authentically Bronx outlet for news, information, and expression. BronxNet was born, affording opportunities for Bronxites and students to learn valuable skills and build careers in the media industry. In the early days of BronxNet, I'm proud to have had the privilege to work with our many success stories, including the outstanding anchor and media leader serving as our MC today. Just graduated from college, Darlene Rodriguez. Darlene Pamales at the time gained her first TV experience reporting for the Bronx's first daily news show, BXNY on BronxNet. Darlene Rodriguez is now a multiple Emmy Award-winning journalist on NBC4 New York, with an Impact Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism for her extensive coverage of the aftermath of Hurricane Maria and rebuilding in Puerto Rico. Darlene is co-anchor of Today in New York, and you can see her every weekday between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. on NBC4 New York, as well as right here, right now. Please welcome the beautiful and Bronx proud Darlene Rodriguez.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. When you're from the Bronx, you've been to Marina Del Rey so many times, right? For so many different events. I love it every time. By the way, my little brother, who has about 6 jobs, is one of the bartenders in the back. We learned this. So, Julius, where are you? Tip him well. Tip him well. He's a hardworking young guy. I swear, it's a true story. I'm probably related to about 3 more people in this room as well. Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. It is so great to be here, as always. My name is Darlene Rodriguez. I do work at NBC New York. I co-anchor a show called Today in New York. We're really proud of the show. We work really, really hard every morning, starting in the middle of the night, to get you guys the news. And we're so glad that you decided to join us for BronxNet's 25th anniversary celebration. I honestly can't believe we're talking about 25 years. Michael, where are you? That's 25 years, right? 25 years ago, I saw an ad, a little tiny ad in a local paper that said that there was a new station starting up and they were looking for reporters. And it was going to be a station in the Bronx. Now, I had graduated University of Miami and I wanted to do this job that I have since I was 8 years old. And I had no idea how difficult it is to get into this business, because you know how it is. You're from New York, you figure you know people, you know what you're doing, it's going to work out. Well, that's not always how it goes. So I was a receptionist and a temp worker, and I did all these things for about a whole year because the broadcasting thing wasn't necessarily working out. I saw this ad. Now, I knew that my reel, as it's called, my body of work from the University of Miami was awful, like really bad. So I figured my only way to try to get in, because this is the Bronx, they're going to do news about the Bronx, and I know this borough, was to walk in. So I found out where they were located, and I put on the only suit that I owned at the time. That was probably a mistake, because looking back, it wasn't the best outfit, but it's what I had. And I walked in, and David Medina was the news director at the time. I had no appointment, so I got past whoever was doing security front desk. Then I got past the assistant news director at the time, who was unpacking boxes, and I walked into David's office. And he was unpacking boxes, and he turned around and said, "Hi, can I help you? Who are you?" I said, "I'm sorry, I don't have an appointment, but I'm here to apply for this job that you're advertising." And thankfully, he did not call security. But what he wanted to know was, what kind of experience do you have? And I said, well, none yet. But I said, I'm eager, I'm smart, I know this borough, I love it here, this is where I live, and there are stories that need to be told, and I think you should give me an opportunity. And I convinced him, and he said, you know what, I'm gonna give you a chance. And that was it. And he paid me, Jim, I don't know if this was fair or not, but at the time I was fine with it. He paid me $128 per story, and I was happy to earn it. And I worked with a bunch of young, amazing, intelligent journalists, storytellers, and broadcasters in the making, like Michael Max Nobby, who had longer hair and was always fantastic at this job. So thank you to BronxNet for giving me that opportunity, because I worked for them and I learned so much about New York City, about news, and about journalism. But we continue now. The Bronx Opera Company captivates audiences around the world with their outstanding voices. Like so many of our Bronx cultural institutions, they represent us well. So here to sing our national anthem, one of opera's great voices, Leslie Swanson.
Thank you so much. You'll join me, of course. Okay. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, see, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh, let's give her another round of applause. That was beautiful. Leslie Swanson, thank you so much. There are so many people who help BronxNet thrive, including our borough's elected officials. I'm looking at our Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz, here. Let's give him a warm round of applause as well. The elected officials, of course, make sure that the voices of Bronxites are heard and that the needs of the borough are met. A big thank you also to our entire New York City Council Bronx delegation for your ongoing support, and to all of our representatives in the New York State Senate, the New York State Assembly, and the United States Congress, of course. That's right. Well, you all know his work and dedication to BronxNet and the Bronx. He's been with BronxNet as a creative, award-winning force since its inception, and as executive director, I'm proud to say, since 2002. Please welcome back BronxNet Executive Director Michael Max Nobby.
Thank you, Darlene. A great part of our success is by virtue of the leadership and commitment of our distinguished board of directors at BronxNet, chaired by former Bronx District Attorney Paul T. Gentile. Thank you to the board members of BronxNet, the 25th Anniversary Planning Committee, and to our hardworking BronxNet staff that organized this great celebration that we are enjoying today. We appreciate also the generosity of our anchor partners. Let's give them a round of applause. Bronx Care, Diversified, and Mountco. Our rising star partners, Mercury LLC, and the New York Botanical Garden. And our producer partners, Lehman College, that's right, Lehman College, where our network operations are located, the Hutchinson Metro Center, Mercy College, where our other studios are located. Lyft is a producer partner. Fordham University, thank you for your partnership. Ostos Community College. And a round of applause also for Bronx Community College. The Bronx went from lacking channels and being devoid of media spaces to attaining the public service, multimedia, multi-channel, multi-site TV network that BronxNet has become. There are multitudes of different people and organizations that help get BronxNet to where it is today. In serving our communities across the Bronx, we have many to thank, and it is excellent to see so many outstanding partners and stakeholders here. Let's look at a little bit of what we've been able to accomplish together. May I direct your attention to the screen?
Decades ago, lacking outlets for expression, a people of an extraordinary place were unheard. This community and its people were customarily misportrayed. TV news, radio reports, and newspaper headlines in the 1970s and 80s too often misrepresented communities in the borough of the Bronx. Then, something transformative happened. Dedicated Bronx leaders and residents, led by then Bronx Borough President Freddy Ferrer, forged a vision of television by, for, and about the Bronx. BronxNet was born. It would go on to become a media network that would tenaciously help build up the borough by placing powerful storytelling tools in the hands of Bronxites.
We are BronxNet!
BronxNet very democratically opens its doors to everyone who wishes to express themselves on the issues of the day.
BronxNet provides media education,
opening the doors to competitive careers in the media industry
for thousands of students in middle school,
high school,
and college.
Hi, I'm Chris Rock. I'm not a comedian, but I play one on TV. And whenever I'm in the Bronx vacationing, you know, I got a summer home there, I watch the award-winning Bronx Live.
BronxNet offers hands-on production training to thousands of Bronx residents
who produce and broadcast their own independent shows
to share with their neighbors on BronxNet channels.
I welcome you to another episode of Getaway for a Day with Alicia Renee.
Yo soy Emilia Matamoros, esto es Cultura Libre y no se muevan.
Welcome to Section 420, Talking Yankees.
Hello everyone, I'm Miriam Dawn Tab. Welcome to Uptown NYC.
If you want to learn about, cultures in the Bronx, you can catch that in BronxNet.
I've been going to school for 2 years and I hear all this stuff about BronxNet. Oh, it's on BronxNet, this show's on BronxNet, BronxNet this and BronxNet that. But I live in Yonkers.
Move to the Bronx.
I'm gonna move to the Bronx for BronxNet.
BronxNet works with hundreds of partner organizations to bring important issues,
events, and cultural highlights to viewers
with the station's own signature shows.
The reason why we need to be so thankful to BronxNet is because the proof is in the pudding. And over the last 20 years, BronxNet has documented our story.
These shows are produced by professionals together with BronxNet trained interns.
More recently, BronxNet is working with elementary and middle schools
to provide students with early training in professional media production.
Students work with educators to highlight issues of concern
to their peers, schools, and communities.
We love BronxNet!
serving the public at 3 locations in the Bronx
and covering Bronx stories in neighborhoods all around our borough.
BronxNet is enhancing services and upgrading technologies
to meet the needs of Bronxites to learn,
engage,
inspire,
and thrive.
You are BronxNet.
You are BronxNet.
You are BronxNet.
We are BronxNet. And together, we are Bronx Strong.
We are BronxNet! BronxNet would not be possible without all of you, and this event would not be the wonderful celebration that it is without your presence here. And we got cameras all about this space right now. We're going to try something because you guys look like you're ready for prime time. Bronx residents who take training at BronxNet, get certified, and use our studios and production resources, please stand. I see you, Mary Vin Rose, Healthy Living in the Bronx, Dessence. I see Miriam Taub, everybody, Adem of Albanian culture in the Bronx, Sheikh Musa Drama. Stand up and stay standing. Stay standing, please. Let's work with me here. Thank you for being Bronx family, BronxNet family. BronxNet staff, reporters, hosts, our team, students, stand up right now and stay standing right now. Those that are delivering our educational services, please stand up. The high school and college students that are here working with us from CBAW, Community Board Athletic Leadership League, and the Cool Nerd team. Stand up, please, everybody, and stay standing. We've got BronxNet alumni here, the next generation. There she is, Yaela Liberis, breaking news reporter at New York One, started at BronxNet. She's now also a weekend anchor on BronxNet. And we have other alum here. There's a gentleman on camera right over there. He started while at Bronx Community College at BronxNet and Ostos Community College, went on to Lehman College, and now he's a 7-time Emmy Award winner, Walter Garacoa. And we've got Geraldine Estevez, Communications Director at the Bronx Dem. Stand up right there. Who is a Bronx alum? Stand up and raise your hand right now and be proud. We have partner organizations in the room. I mentioned you. Stand up right now. This is about economic development, community building through media. Bronx Care, Montefiore, NYBG, Bronx Community College, Fordham University. Stand with me right now because we're going to try something together. Bronx Chamber of Commerce, the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Bronx Times Reporter, our partner organizations across this great city, MNN, BRIC, QPTV. Please, let's stand together. Our elected leaders working hard for the Bronx. Stand up, be proud. We are BronxNet. We're going to do something right now. We have cameras rolling on you right now. Our creative community, Carada de la Luz, Grandmaster, Melly Mel, Grandmaster Kaz, the MC from Cold Crush. And then we have Dennis Redmond Darkeem, Melissa Calderon, and of course, we have Michael Ferris Jr., the award designers, the Bronx artists that made these beautiful awards that are going to be presenting today. We have Unfoco here. Anybody in the arts, whether it be the Bronx Opera Company, Bronx Arts Ensemble, stand up and be proud, whether it be Ostos Center for the Arts and Culture. Stand up. Everybody should be standing in a moment. If you've been on BronxNet or taken a training class, you should be standing up right now because we're going to do something right now. Our committee, our board members, let's stand up and let's try to do something. This gentleman, Walter Garacoa, and our other cameras are rolling. Everybody stand up, and on 3, you're an alum. On 3, we're going to say, we are BronxNet, but, you know, with the vocal cords well-oiled and from the diaphragm. So we're going to do a practice. Life is not a rehearsal, but we're going to try it right now. 3, 2, 1. We are BronxNet. The cameras are on you, so be Bronx proud. We are BronxNet family, and together we are stronger. One more time. 3, 2, 1. We are BronxNet. Is that good? One more time. 3, 2, 1. We are BronxNet. Thank you all for being a part of the BronxNet family. Thank you. Let's welcome back our beautiful MC, Darlene Rodriguez.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Michael. Well, BronxNet has flourished under the leadership of its outstanding chairman, Paul T. Gentile. Years ago, Mr. Gentile exhibited strong leadership as Bronx District Attorney, and for nearly 25 years, he's exhibited those same qualities as chairman of BronxNet's distinguished board of directors. Thanks to his guidance, BronxNet has successfully navigated development hurdles to become the model of the media outlet that it is today. Please join me in welcoming BronxNet Chairman Paul T. Gentile.
Thank you so much. Well, this is a fabulous gathering, and it's a tribute to all of you, the support you show for BronxNet. The reason BronxNet is great is because of all of you here today. As BronxNet celebrates 25 years of broadcasting, we have much to celebrate. BronxNet was established by the recipient of today's Founders Award, who at that time was Bronx Borough President Freddy Ferrer. And by the way, I defy you to find anyone who knows him that doesn't call him Freddie. He established BronxNet as a fully independent organization and appointed a stellar board of directors whose membership ensured that BronxNet would not be involved in corruption or scandal. We have improved greatly in the 25 years from that time, and we are getting better. With that said, it is with great pride that I am able to announce today that BronxNet has succeeded in its hard-fought negotiations with Verizon and Altice, that was formerly Cablevision. BronxNet will be able to broadcast 6 channels on Verizon and 6 channels on Altice in full high definition. The backstory about how it was accomplished is very interesting. And the answer to that is we had a great team. Each time BronxNet met with Verizon or Altice, sitting across the table from these cable giants was Freddy Ferrer, who brought the message that it was politically important to each company not to be identified as fighting the best interests of BronxNet. Next to Freddie sat a man that I'm going to introduce to you momentarily, who has advocated for civil rights for half a century, a man who has led the American Civil Liberties Union and in one capacity or another fought all the most important civil rights battles up until this day. He rightfully enjoys a reputation that he is hands down the finest civil rights lawyer anywhere in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the man of all seasons, Norman Siegel. Please stand up, Norman. Come on, stand up. Stand up, Norman. A truly great American. For the rest of the team, I was joined by Executive Director Mike's, our technician, Carl Peters, who's here. And this team, though, was led by our quarter-century honoree and our borough president, Ruben Diaz Jr. Ruben worked deftly and wisely behind the scene to make sure that both sides understood how important it was to resolve this dispute. He personally removed many roadblocks on the road to victory. The Yankees had Jeter, BronxNet had Diaz. Thanks to our honorees and to our distinguished board of directors, we have greatly expanded in terms of services that we provide and geographic locations in the Bronx. Our board members are leaders in their field and have a wide range of experience. At this point, it's extremely important that you get to meet the members of the board so that we can acknowledge those who are present. John Colazzi, would you please stand up? John's history as a publisher and in the newspaper industry, and he guides the board on media matters and dealing with community media. Mike Heller is here. Mike, please stand up. Mike has enjoyed a long career in community and government relations. He has represented Montefiore, New York Health and Hospital Corporation, and other leaders in the healthcare industries, as well as the New York City Transit Authority. Peter Joseph, I don't believe is here, but is an important member. He is a private investor with over 25 years of experience in the private equity. Peter is now working on a project, and it's going to work, where he is turning commercial scale waste to energy in New Jersey, turning waste into energy. A brilliant man. Then we come to one of the most special people that have ever served on our board, Madaha Kinsey Lamb. Would you please stand up? Madaha is president and founder of Mind Builders, which is a creative arts center, and serves on the boards of the New York Botanical Gardens and Guild Community Services. But to our board, she's something much more than that. She represents a soul, a sense of what's right and what's wrong. Madaha always wants to know what is the right thing to do. And I can tell you that I personally never let anything come to a vote until we hear from Madaha. She is a treasure. Ken Knuckles is here. Would you stand up, Ken? Ken has served as Deputy Borough President from 1987 through 1990. He was a Deputy Mayor. He's President and CEO of the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone Development Corporation, and he's a member of the New York City Planning Commission. He helps us in so many ways, but his expertise in housing and in dealing with various government entities makes him extremely valuable. And for me, I'm so proud that I can call him a close friend. Nick Logo is here. Nick is president and CEO of the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Prior to establishing the Hispanic Chamber, he served as president of the New York Chamber of Commerce. He founded Casa Publications and La Voz Española. He is one of our county's most respected leaders. Thank you so much for your service, Nick. Ken Mcguire is not here, but he came to us from Disney ABC, a group where he served for over 2 decades. Ken is an expert on labor relations and helps guide us as we deal with the various issues involving our employees. Also not present is former Judge Douglas Mckeon. He was the administrative judge for civil matters in the Bronx. He was the statewide coordinator for medical malpractice matters, and he previously served as judge of the civil court. Edwin Mejia is here. Please stand up, Edwin. Edwin co-founded Vladar Company, where he oversees the production of slate and sales. He co-produced the 2013 award-winning hit film Generation Iron. He also brings to the board financial expertise, as he's a former member of Lehman Brothers. Myrna Rivera is not here. She's presently down in Puerto Rico working very hard to help that island recover. She is the founder and chief executive officer of Consultiva International, and Myrna has over 30 years of experience in the field of investment management consulting, and leads the Lehman College Foundation in its investments. Myrna and Peter Joseph guide BronxNet in preserving and growing its resources, resulting in BronxNet's sound financial position. BronxNet would not be possible without the commitment and creativity demonstrated by our executive director, Michael Max Nobby. Wherever Michael Max goes in the Bronx, and whenever he is seen, people point to him and they say, "There's BronxNet." He is. He has an outstanding staff, and we appreciate that. Our independent Bronx public access producers are to be commended for the programs they create for BronxNet's public channels. BronxNet's work could not continue without our generous supporters and partners. Today, we are a 24-hour per day broadcasting network, and we are unique in that we provide content specifically related to the Bronx. We provide media training that helps students build careers in the media industry, and we offer production training, studios, and broadcast time. On behalf of the BronxNet's Board of Directors, I thank everyone who has contributed to our 25 years of BronxNet success. Thank you again.
Let's say thank you again to Paul for all he does, his passion and his dedication. We appreciate that. We have a lot more to celebrate, but first, we're going to take a short break so that you guys can eat. We'll have a little bit of lunch, and then we're going to have our honoree presentations coming right up, so please enjoy your meal.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
RMC today graciously accepted our request for her to host this luncheon, and she is a dedicated community person here in the Bronx, working with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, working with the Christian Rivera Foundation, and she's our MC today. Let's welcome back Darlene Rodriguez.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody's enjoying lunch. Was it good? Yeah? Did you tip the bartenders? All right, take care of them. Well, we're now ready to present awards to our outstanding honorees, starting with the Public Service Award. So we want to take a moment here. Please direct your attention to the screen behind me for a look at our first honoree.
When I started Mind Builders in 1978, the mission really was to change lives, to recreate and strengthen our community, to build our confidence, our knowledge of ourselves as powerful in the world. I mean, they all sound like really high goals, but that was really the thinking in terms of our mission 40 years ago, and it's still our mission now. So we do it through dance, through music, through theater, folk culture research, martial arts, that these are special individuals who are teaching. And wherever you may go in Mind Builders, that whole learning environment and our commitment to changing lives and helping young people and community residents to realize the talents, the skills, and the responsibility that we have to help each other.
We try to provide everything that we can for them and make it exciting for them. They come as children to us and they leave as young adults, and I'm really very happy.
I play at Mind Builders,
an after-school program that I feel is a really great place to go. You get to learn how to do music, you get to do a lot of things that suit your hobbies, and I feel that is a great place to go to.
Art education is important because it gives you different ways to express yourself. With the art field, there is no right or wrong way, it's just your way. And as long as you can stick by that, then that's all that really matters.
I've been going to Mind Builders for almost 10 years now, and I'm a hip-hop dancer there. I take folk culture, and the people are so dedicated to their students.
Mind Builders is like a family. It's like a second home to me.
Everyone should be loved.
The real point is these young people, these instructors, the art, and the community. It is on your shoulders that we have been standing. You come, you help, you give, and it's all been possible because of us coming together.
Beautiful. The award to our beautiful Madaha Kinsey Lamb will be presented by one of BronxNet's own board members. As Chairman Paul Gentile indicated earlier, his government service as former deputy Bronx Borough president and his neighborhood development experience as president and CEO of the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone Development Corporation are serving BronxNet well as we expand operations to new locations in other areas of the Bronx. So please welcome Kenneth Knuckles.
Ladies and gentlemen, after that compelling documentary, there's really not much more to say, but then again, there's a lot more to say. Let me simply say I met Madaha Kinsey Lamb a little over 30 years ago when I had the privilege of serving with Freddy Ferrer as his deputy borough president. At that point, Mind Builders was only 10 years old. Now it is 40, which is extraordinary because Madaha is only 35. I don't understand how that math works. But this institution has molded minds and bodies and has served a purpose that only Mind Builders could serve. It took an old dilapidated, forlorn building in Oldenville and transformed it into a special, magical place. I have two daughters, both of whom have gone and experienced Mind Builders. So what more can I say? This is a heroine. This lady is a heroine of the city. She is an unsung hero, and I am only too proud to present this award to Madaha Kinsey Lamb.
And to have art as your award. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's the way we do it in the Bronx. I'm so glad that I didn't have to go on after our eloquent former borough president and current borough president, that I'll just warm up the room a little. I'll be the opening act for this part. But thank you all, because I don't teach any of the classes. I don't tune the instruments or any of that. And it's really this kind of support, this kind of encouragement that makes all of this possible. I want to thank really BronxNet Board and Paul Gentile and Max and the staff. I mean, the growth that BronxNet has shown over these 25 years, this dedication to quality. And it's amazing that so often, I don't even think Max and other people know that they may be covering something that's happening at Mind Builders. I mean, we have students from every zip code in the Bronx, families from every zip code in the Bronx, those 800 or so students that come every week. And when we'll have BronxNet come to cover something, and the cameraman will say, "Oh, I took piano lessons at Mind Builders." Really? And when they, or I took martial arts there. And I mean, it happens every time in terms of career building and people going into broadcasting. It's such an incredible proving ground that it's an honor to have been on the board. I can't believe that it's been this long. Mind Builder's name is really an understatement. And I finally come out of the closet in terms of being really clear and honest about what the purpose was from day one. I thought before that funders would think I was really crazy and that they wouldn't fund us if I really said that I expect that a 1-hour music lesson or dance class a week, and sometimes it's 3 hours, it depends on what a student is interested in, is going to change their lives. But that's what happens. They come back and they say, "You changed my life." And they're talking about the teachers, they're talking about the staff, they're talking about those relationships. And I know you don't want to do it. That table has to stand up, who represents the 50 people. Stand up. Look at these people who represent, and my husband. Oh, Lord, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Andrew Lamb. These are the people on the front line. We have board members, volunteers, music director, dance director, fiscal manager, best friends as well, who have been connected with the organization since when. These are the people that people are talking about when they say Mind Builders has changed my life, that they know that dedication and that passion. And that's our team. It's a frightening power that you have over young people, that you can shape and mold them so much. You must be very responsible. So we're very careful in terms of the people who are chosen. That was the motto in 1978 when I was 28 years old. And I'm 69 now, 69, it's on camera. That it takes a special kind of teacher to be a mind builder, a special kind of person to nourish the spirit and have it be an impact that's for a lifetime. Our brochure and more information, that baggie that Max talked about, has Mind Builder's brochure in it. We have classes for children, teens, adults, so all of you here, there's something here for you, whether it's Zumba or you want to learn to play the guitar or drama for teens. We're registering for that now. So do be in touch. Or maybe you just want to give some time or some other kind of something. You see who those people are. You can connect with them. Our brochure is in the bag as well. They didn't mention, or maybe it's actually the bio mentioned, that I also call myself a poet and writer. My old college buddy who's now on our board, Basir, I think he was part of one of the poetry groups back in the day at NYU. So just to be true, to you know, fact checking and whatnot, I really am a bit of a writer, amateur. So I'm just gonna close with one of the poems that I've written. It's called Where the Heart Is. Here, this is a holy place, after all. Hooked on the rush of Fulton streets, jobs, discount aisles, commuter herds, we choose. Collide into each other, confused then furious, or enter one another, eyes closed, shuddering, into the raw softness, the twin of our own, longing to go home, 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 longing. This is the Holy Land, too. The kingdom where we come to face ourselves until it doesn't matter. Corner trash cans overflowing, spill our fears, stain the air. Sun milk pours over sidewalks. Green open palms, small roomed walls in need of paint, and the unclothed eyes and smiles of our children. Their eyes shining like clear lake water, holy eyes, wandering, wondering, longing to know this place is holy. After all, each voyager's a saint, passing hysterical, amnesic, though over distance there have been breaths of sacred union. When Uncle Vic said grace, and we bowed, tender, glistening like the turkey. Tight, lingering hugs in death's air at a wake. The harvest of tears and how our hopes launched at that wedding, remember? When we wind down, come to ourselves, longing to go home. Longing to go home. And home is here and here. Thank you.
How beautiful was that? How beautiful is she? Madaha's beautiful award as well was designed by award-winning artist Michael Ferris Jr. And she did appreciate that it was art. So the Bronx has a powerful history with our Founders Award honoree. Let's take a look.
And we're back here at the annual Bronx Unity Day Parade with the man that has really been the driving force behind it, Borough President Fernando Ferrer. Mr. Ferrer, thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit, what was it like marching down the concourse for you today?
Well, it's always great. It's a little hot this afternoon, but the spirits are high. People are very, very warm. We're celebrating our coming together, real unity in a diverse borough where everybody marches down together, hand in hand.
Some may not even remember the time during the 1977 World Series when Howard Cosell at the time was narrating the ball game. That's when he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Bronx is burning." That one sentence defined our borough for nearly 15 years. I think with all the chest pounding and back patting over crime in the last couple of years, leadership in New York has really lost sight of the really important things. One is jobs, but more basic and fundamental than that is education. But without a good education, kids aren't going to be competitive, aren't going to be literate, aren't going to be able to access the kinds of jobs that we hope this city will be able to produce to keep them productive parts of our city's society. One of the first things I did was bring the Regional Plan Association in to work with us, hire the first borough-based planning department to figure out where we go, how we put forward a plan to house people decently, to reclaim neighborhoods, to renew infrastructure. I'm pretty proud of the way that unfolded over the years. Look, a kid who grew up where I grew up with nothing, to be this borough's chief executive for as long as I had, to enjoy the confidence of its people. I've had the great gift of being the mayor of my hometown, being the borough president of the Bronx for nearly 15 years, and it has been a tremendous honor.
So whether you know this place as the Borough of Progress, or the Borough of Parks, the Borough of Universities, the home of hip-hop, El Condado de la Salsa, or for our friends in Paris, La Belle Bronx. It is always the Bronx beautiful, the place where we were born and raised, the place where we bring up our children and our families. We give them big dreams. The place whose first language isn't even spoken today. It was native to this land. Its second language was Dutch. Its third language was English. Its fourth language, Spanish, and the beat goes on. It speaks many languages today, but it speaks many languages saying the same word, welcome.
Now let's welcome back BronxNet Chairman Paul Gentile for the presentation of BronxNet's 25th Anniversary Founders Award and our 25th Anniversary Quarter Century Award. Paul.
I'm filled with emotion. It is with great pleasure and pride that I have the opportunity to introduce our recipient of BronxNet's Founder Award in this way. Freddy Ferrer is a man of character. From the very first time that I met him to the present time, he has consistently represented dignity, decency, and honor. At every intersection of conflict and moral challenge, he has chosen morality over reward. Certain events come to mind. I think of the Yankees. Do you remember the time when you were told and we were told that the Yankees had to leave the Bronx because it was such a terrible place that the attendance was down? And if they wanted to improve attendance, they'd have to go elsewhere. You know what Freddie told them? No, you're wrong. Get a better team and the people will come out and see you. Try to get a seat in Yankee Stadium tonight. That's how good it is. The other that I bring to mind is during the historic race for mayor in 2001. Mayor Giuliani, remember him? Requested, listen to this, because it's the truth, that each of the candidates for mayor agreed to extend his term because he was the only person able to complete the task involving 911. Every single candidate agreed except one. Freddie Ferrer counted that no person is indispensable and that the election process will provide a suitable person to carry on. That is strength, that is courage, that is wisdom. As district attorney, he helped me see where the problems were to be found in our corrupt school boards. Afterwards, he established the Commission on School Integrity that held public hearings in every single school district, and that I was privileged to chair. The results of those hearings led to substantial and meaningful reforms. I have seen enough and witnessed enough to know that Freddie is truly unique. Among his peers, he labels in the collective world of government, politics, and practical advice. It is because of the way he lives his life through his entire career that it can be said without dispute that he is the most respected person in this complex political arena in the entire city of New York. It is my great and enormous pleasure to present the award to Fernando Freddy Ferrer. I'm Mary. Sure. All right. I'm just going to sit over here.
I'm too damn old to blush. But Paul and members of the board, thank you. Mike and members of the BronxNet team, thank you. That was extraordinary. I didn't realize how much I had aged in those 15 years. It's humbling. And it's always a joy to see Darlene Rodriguez née Pomales, who I first met as an eager, smart, young reporter for BronxNet, who eventually made her way on to lesser-known media outlets like CBS Radio and NBC News. My friends and partners in government, Ken Knuckles, who's now on the board, Richard Eady, both phenomenal deputy borough presidents, phenomenal public servants. And I'm getting this award with Madaha Kinsey and the 13th borough president of the Bronx, Ruben Diaz Jr. As we say in the Bronx, it don't get better than that. So BronxNet is a little like that legendary Yankees pitcher, El Duque. If you looked at the birth certificate, it said 25. It's a little older. But nobody's counting because he threw a lot of strikes. Like BronxNet. It's a little older than 25. It started by broadcasting a community calendar on a bulletin board, and then ramped up to build itself, to develop content out of a need, a real need in the Bronx, after seeing news accounts of us by people who didn't know us and didn't care to know us, to tell our story, our own story, in our own way. And that's what BronxNet does. That's what it did from the first day. That's what it continues to do today. It tells our own story. Now, we started with BXNY, a news platform for us. We were told by the then cable provider in the Bronx that, no, don't worry about that, we'll take care of that. Well, no, we'll take care of that. And we did that for a few years until we couldn't compete anymore. It's a very expensive undertaking. But maybe with the way news has changed these days, that's an idea whose time has come again. Think about Bronx people telling their own story in their own way. That's the most appealing thing of it. I mean, look, over the years you could look at the channels. By the way, you'll be able to see channels in high def now, like everybody else, and that's a pretty good thing, because, look, a lot of this stuff was, with the grainy look, looked like it was shot in a garage. Now, as good and polished and competent as anything on your television. So I'm a big fan of BronxNet, always have been, and know that it has a bright future before it. Dedicated board members. I mean, look, they really do. And some of whom I even appointed, that's going back a minute, like John Colazzi, who I don't know, whenever he sees me, he wants to hug me or blame me for doing that. But all of you give so much to this organization, give so much time and talent, and it's worth it. Now when you look at it, you remember the days, does anybody remember the great Puerto Rican cuatrista, Jomo Toro? He would, he's a good guy. He would show up at a BronxNet taping and start playing his cuatro. This is an internationally known musician, the late Jomo Toro, and he would be jamming with a few local, guys over there, and it made for great watching and listening. There's stuff like that studded in BronxNet's history. People who talk about their faith, their lives, their cooking, their homes, their experiences, their education, their art. This is something to be enormously proud of. I may have been around at the founding, but you developed this into the full-grown, interesting, fascinating, multifaceted adult it is today. So thank you.
I've known Freddie so long, I can tell you the BronxNet is part of his DNA. It means something to him, it's important to him, and he's always done everything he could to assist us. He set the building blocks, and then some wonderful people built upon it. But he's our foundation. Thank you, Freddie. It's now my great pleasure to present to our wonderful Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., our Quarter Century Award.
You know, I think about me and Ruben on Borough President Diaz. I don't know what y'all call him, Your Majesty. The Bronx Borough President is my childhood friend, and so I've been so proud of him for so long.
I'm the only person in this freshman class from '96 to get a bill signed into law.
Assemblyman Ruben Diaz Jr. is talking about his asthma bill. It allows all New York students suffering from asthma for the first time this fall to bring their inhalers with them to class.
Spell my name R-U-B-E-N-D-I-A-Z, Assemblyman from the 85th Assembly District. Or I could do microphone check 1, 2, what is this? The 5-footer coming with the roughneck business.
And that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of President of the Borough of the Bronx,
President of the Borough of the Bronx,
according to the best of my abilities.
According to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're not sitting idly by and watching our borough change. Rather, we are actively guiding the progress of the Bronx and doing everything that we can to ensure that the future is for everyone.
It feels good. For me, being the president of the Bronx in this day and age is an amazing feeling of having the best job, I think, in the planet. I try to work as hard as I can so when I'm no longer the borough president, what people will say is, the Bronx certainly changed from the time that he became the borough president to the time that he didn't. And hopefully, most people will think that that change was for good. While we have done so many different things in so many different areas, the Bronx parks are repaired, that we've done more in housing, that we have more and more institutions, cultural institutions. I think visually people see, wow, this Bronx is not the Bronx that it was 10 years ago.
We've been leading the Bronx in the right direction. We've been making sure that we're creating jobs. We've been creating affordable housing. We've been fixing up our parks. We've been doing a lot of great things because we are a team that's working to make a better Bronx.
Turn up the bass. It's better when it's loud, 'cause I like to move the crowd.
Something else, isn't it?
Feel like winning the chip.
That's good.
This is amazing. Hey, gang, look this way, please. This is the
I'm in shape. I know you are. I'm in shape. Like a superhero. Let me get this.
We'll put it down. I have a few words to say about you.
You still?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Thank you. In presenting this award, I'd like to put in context his relationship to BronxNet. I first met our wonderful borough president shortly after he had been elected borough president for the first time. At his office, I presented to him our mission and the scope of our media and its influence. He could have, in response, acted in a way that would afford him greater influence or control over this organization. Instead, his response to me was simply, "Mr. Chairman, what can I do to help BronxNet?" Since then, Ruben Diaz has fought brilliantly at every turn. During the renewal process between BronxNet and the cable companies, he fought with every skill that you would expect from a much more seasoned negotiator. At our gathering 5 years ago, I made an observation that Ruben Diaz showed the skill and finesse that could bring peace to the Middle East. He has lost none of that, and in fact has improved as he inspires everyone within the sound of his voice. That he stands up for BronxNet, he stands up for you, and he stands up for me in exactly the right way. You know, the promise and its reality intersect at a future point in time. I am not alone when I sense that the promise of Ruben Diaz and the reality of that promise will occur in the near future and in his favor. I and the board of directors are so proud to work with him and have the opportunity to award him today. Ladies and gentlemen, BronxNet's Man of the 25th celebration are gifted, talented, and our greatest source of energy, and he is truly our most important and valuable benefactor. Ladies and gentlemen, Ruben Diaz Jr.
Wow. Good afternoon, everyone. Paul, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And boy, what I would give to have that full head of hair again. To you, Paul, to all of the members of the executive board of BronxNet, to Max, all of the faculty members, thank you for this honor. While I don't ascribe to all of his teachings, the ancient philosopher, the ancient Chinese philosopher, Confucius, one of his teachings was filial piety. And that's when you pay homage to those that come before you. In having number 11, Freddy Ferrer, here today, you do exactly that. And it's understated. And for those of you who are not up there yet in age, please understand that unfortunately in this day and age, that respect is missing. That acknowledgement is missing. There is no doubt in my mind that we would not be where we are today if it were not for the leadership, for the fortitude, for the foresight of number 11, Fernando Ferrer. If aesthetically the Bronx has come back, visually you see all of the development. Now speak about that. That cannot happen without someone saying, we deserve better. We're not going to tolerate living in rubble. And we need to provide a better future so that our children, no disrespect to Freddie on age difference, but I was one of those who played in rubble. Our children cannot play in rubble. And so Freddie, and don't get it twisted, y'all, he was a young man, came in as the borough president in a cloud of corruption. You guys got to study this. It wasn't just what was happening in the streets with drugs and the Bronx looking like a third world country. There was political corruption at every level, and this young man came in, took the helm, and laid down the solid foundation so that we could be where we are today. And then with all of that, let's give it up for number 11. See, if you know me in these types of ceremonies and the way that I operate, I'm result-oriented. I want to collect the dots, connect them, and show you all what exactly we're celebrating. Because even at that time, even worse than what the world saw in the '77 World Series, and Lord hope, please, the Yankees win tonight. Even with all of that, the worst thing that happened to us was that we were beaten as residents of the Bronx psychologically and spiritually. And so we get to Madaha and Mind Builders. Think about how, on a daily basis, generation after generation, you can't really quantify that. You can't touch that. A lot of people can't see that. It's a chipping away every single day, teaching a boy and girl their value, their worth, and building up their confidence. That's what happens. As great as she is, what happens in the walls of Mind Build is even greater. It's phenomenal what happens there. And then we get to BronxNet. BronxNet is like my homie. 25 years. My first interview as a candidate, I lost that race. It was a special election in 1996 for the New York State Assembly. I was 22 years old. The first platform that I was able to get in order to put out my message and to present my candidacy to the people of the Soundview section of the Bronx was BronxNet. That was an opportunity. This is what we're talking about. BronxNet on a daily basis takes what Freddy started as the borough president, takes what Madaha is doing with our youth, takes what the talented young men and women who go through Lehman College, who come into the BronxNet, and you give them an opportunity to tell your story, you give them an opportunity to hone your skill, you give them an opportunity to go on like Darlene and go conquer your world. You give an opportunity to an opportunity to a 22-year-old to be able to start building his confidence, to present a candidacy. And even though I lost that race, ultimately I went on to serve in the New York State Assembly for 7 terms, and now I'm the president of the Boogie Down Bronx. And like Freddy stated earlier, it's about telling our story in a way that nobody else wanted to, cared to, or was even prepared to do it. Think about where we are today, thanks to that solid foundation. Think about over the last 10 years alone, $20 billion private dollars invested in our borough, 45,000 units of housing. That was all started even before that with Freddy and his team. You got Joe Itia here, you got Ken Knuckles and so many others. We've cut unemployment by way more than half. 117,000 more people working in the Bronx in the first day that I took office. That all starts because somebody believed in the future generation in the Bronx. That all starts because there were adults who knew that you had to build the spirit, the psychology, and the confidence of young people like myself. That all starts because someone or an institution like BronxNet afforded a platform so that some of us could go out there and get the message out. And now that platform is resonating all over the city of New York. And everybody has to know that talent and talented individuals are abundant, not only in the Bronx, but throughout the city of New York. Opportunity is not. And so what we celebrate here today, we celebrate 2 giants and so many of you, and we celebrate the 25th anniversary of BronxNet that afford and has afforded generation after generation of individuals that where nobody else would the opportunity to show our flavor, our swag, our intellect, our capability, and our potential. And now, because of that, I believe that New York City is prepared for what I call the Bronx diaspora. Thank you, number 11. It is your shoulders that I stand on. Madaha, thank you for what you do with our kids. The future of the Bronx and the city of New York and beyond is all the better for it. Thank you to all of the board members for toughing it out. And even though times don't look like we're making progress, but now we're finally there with BronxNet. Thank you, Max, for your energy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity and this honor. Thank you, Darlene, for being part of that Bronx diaspora that the world gets to see. God bless you all. God bless the Bronx, and let's go Yankees. I feel like I won the championship here.
You got the biggest award. So that was incredible. And, you know, we're going to close out, but I have to, because I have them here in this room. I have to say a personal thank you to these honorees, because I look at women like Madaha, and I remember growing up, and it's women like you, like my mother, who looked at children like us, and just because we were poor, kids of color, saw something in us and gave us that confidence to say, you know what, I could do that job. And I thank you for that. And Ruben, I gotta say, you know, he talked a lot about everybody else, but I gotta talk about Ruben. Ruben is the truth. I have seen him when the cameras are not on. I have seen him when people are not crowding around and looking, and I have seen him be kind and gracious and willing to help and approach people with love and true affection. And you don't see that a lot these days. I don't think you see that at all really these days when it comes to a lot of our elected officials. So I'm grateful to you for being so real and such a great representation. Freddie, okay. So when I was a new reporter at BronxNet, I was new and nervous and scared, and I remember a lot of big stories would come to the Bronx, and there was a crush of reporters, and I don't even know what had happened, but it was a big deal. And Freddie comes in, and maybe we were at a school or some sort of building, and all these reporters from CBS and NBC there, and I was there all of a sudden in this crush of very experienced reporters, and they're all peppering Freddie with questions. So I finally got the guts, and I jumped up and just kind of blurted out, and he looked at me. And let me tell you, what I said made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And they're all staring at me, and it was like, you know when stuff is coming out of your mouth and you can't get it back, and you know you sound really dumb, and it was humiliating, and all these other reporters are looking at me. And you know what he did? He answered my question. He answered my question with a sensible, solid response that was a soundbite we could use. I will never forget that. For that, he was invited to my wedding, and he showed up. They both showed up. So did his wife. Yes. Anyway, all right. Freddie's award was designed by Bronx-born artist Melissa Calderon. Her monument to Roberto Clemente was recently unveiled at the Hub, and the sculpture presented to Borough President Diaz was designed by noted Bronx artist and art educator Dennis Redmoon Darkeem. Congratulations to all of our honorees. They are very, very well deserved. Yes, one more round of applause as we bring up BronxNet's Bronx Strong Executive Director Michael Max Nobby.
Darlene, stay right here. Hey, you know what? Darlene, you have brought sunshine to our 25th anniversary, and I thank you for gracing us as your MC. A round of applause for Darlene Rodriguez of NBC4 New York and BronxNet family. Thank you so much. Before you go, Darlene, maybe we have a raffle. You have a ticket. Does everybody have a ticket? Just pick three. Okay. Pick one.
All right, so 898174. Yes.
Winner of a New York Botanical Gardens gift bag with all sorts of amazing stuff. I would like our board of directors to join us on the dais by the lectern. We're going to take some photos. Well, keep Bronx strong. Para siempre from the Bronx to the world. Thank you for being a part of BronxNet.